Welcome back to my shop. Sorry for the long delay between projects. Being old has its own unique medical issues. In this video, I'm going to make a bowl from a board with scraps from my shop. I started with the scraps from the park bench I had built for my neighbors. I had some oak left over. I also had pieces of basswood from the wedge bowls I had made, and scraps from the 36 bowls I made for my kids, the dark brown Poplar. The maple came from a stereo speaker stand that I no longer needed, so I took it apart, and the final piece of wood I used as the centerpiece is tiger wood that my son gave me with several other exotic wood species. You can use whatever you have in your shop to make beautiful things. The blank I'm starting with is 10 3/4 by 12 inches, and I'll cut it down to size as the process progresses. Now time for the glue up, and then making it flat so I can put the base on. Well, I've glued up the board. I've run it through the planer, and now I've found the center here. We're going to just draw a circle for the base plate, put that in the middle, and then we're going to draw a circle here to cut on the bandsaw. So here goes nothing here. Here we go. This is for the base plate. And that's the circle we're going to cut on the bandsaw. We'll cut around here. The base plate will be in the center. I just noticed the video wasn't working, so what I did was to, of course, draw the circle, cut it out on the bandsaw, and then I circled for the base plate, and I drew a line around there. I set the base plate in place, and then now I have the weight on it so that it'll set overnight, and then once I have that dried overnight, then I can put it on the lathe and start cutting my rings. I have to true up the outside, of course, and then start cutting my rings. Okay, so that trues up the ring. I had run it through the planer, so this is smooth. So now we're going to lay out our rings on this and go from there. Okay, I'm going to cut the first ring. I've got my angle set up at 60 degrees, and we're going to cut, it's 3/4 of an inch we're going to take for our first ring. I've got my backstop set up so that when I cut this off, it's not going to flop off. It's just literally going to stay right there. So we're all set to go. With the backstop there, just sort of just falls into place. I did make one, not an error, but forgot. I have to draw lines on here to make sure that these line up in the right place for when I put the bowl back together. So I got to do that yet. Okay, so that's ring number 2. Okay, so that's the 4th ring. We'll take that off and we'll have to do the glue up now. I just put glue on this. It's attached. I'm going to line it up perfectly if I can. The glue is not set. I just put it on. I have to make sure the lines are exactly in line with each other, and this distance around here I use my fingers to feel that the distance around is exact. Give it a second. I'm going to just clean up the glue on the inside. I don't like the big globs in there. Now I double check to make sure that it hasn't moved. Perfect. I'm going to give that a couple seconds and then I'm going to put ring number 2 on there. Just let it get tacky. I make sure to see where I want to be with the pieces before I put the glue on. These lines look nice. So now I can put the glue on. I marked it on the outside just so I know where it's going. Swish it around a little bit. Spread the glue. And get it lined up temporarily because I want to get the glue dripped off before I go too far, because I want to be able to see the lines. Use a lot of paper towels here. Okay, now I can readjust. Make sure everything is lined up perfectly. It's very important to get everything lined up before the glue sets up. You only have one shot to get it perfect. Hopefully you can see that. Well, it's time for the unveiling. A little spacer there to keep it centered. All set here. Hopefully that'll work out nicely. Ready to put it on the lathe. I didn't realize that the camera was running, so I turned it off during the shaping of the outer part of the bowl, so we skipped right to the sanding. Sorry about that. So on this, the end grains are very predominant. You got to be real careful because there's a lot of end grain here on every one of them. Only some have the grain going the right way, so it smooths out nice. And then the end grain. So I got to be really diligent. I'm just using a 100 grit just to start with. I got to clean this up a little bit, but that's what we're doing now. I got it down to 150, and the end grain is really good. I'm very surprised. This is the oak. The oak is usually terrible to get the end grain, but it's come out really nice. So I'm going to go from here, I'm going to go inside and start doing the shaping on the inside. I think that's my outside shape. That's when I'm going to leave it. And then I'll curve this around the side. I did a little curving in here. I got to take just a little off on the top edge, round it over, and I'll work it in here. So it's coming along. I got to be real careful here because it's very thin, very thin. So I got to be real careful coming in there. Okay, so the inside is shaped. I gotta touch that a little bit. But the bottom is shaped all the way out to here. And I gotta just touch this a little bit. There's a little bump there. I've got it all shaped. I'm going to start with an 80 grit and just do a light run on there. Because, like I said, the end grains, and we got maybe 1/4 of an inch all the way, except for here. It's a little thinner, but it'll work out. Once I finish sanding the 80, I'll go all the way to 400 on both front and back. Looking pretty good. A little bit more on the 80 grit here, and then I'll start working up to the all the way to 400. I put a little denatured alcohol just to clean the dust off it. I did this side. It looks pretty good. Pretty bad. Dusty, dusty. We've got it down to 400 grit. What I'll do is put some sanding sealer on it, and then I can sand it again down to 400 again, just to get everything cleaned up. Looking good. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully that's good for you. Nice grain here. Got a lot of nice grain. The oak. This is maple. And we got the yeah. Can't even think of it. Poplar. Poplar, oak, and this is basswood. Looking good. I'll let it dry for a minute, then I'll put some sanding compound on it, or sanding sealer. Okay, I got my tray in place so I don't drip anything all over. And I'm going to put some sanding sealer on here and see how that comes out. So I just took 400 grit on the sanding sealer, so it's all cleaned up here, both sides. And what I'm going to do is put on some of this polyacrylic, and I'll probably put several coats on it. I used the 400 grit to final sand on that. So we'll just put the polyacrylic on. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'll let that dry overnight and then put another coat on tomorrow. Okay, I just finished sanding the first coat off. It's 400 grit I used, and now I'm going to put another coat of the polyacrylic. It's hard to say fast. Anyhow, so I'm going to start by putting a coat on the inside, and then I'll work to the outside. Well, I've got 3 coats on there now. Feels pretty good, nice and smooth. I'm just going to use this scrub pad, what do they call that, Scotch-Brite Scotch pad, and just go over it a little bit. Put it about 400 RPM just to smooth it out. And then I'm going to remove it from the base block. Okay, I'm going to set up for removing it from the base. That'll take a few minutes. Okay, I've got this all set up. I've got my rest here for my parting tool, and I'm going to cut this off right here. I've got it propped up on the inside. I'll show you a picture, and we'll just cut that straight off. Okay, so that's that. That's cut off. We'll disconnect it from our attachment here, and then we've got to switch it around and finish off the bottom. Well, I got it all set up. I'm going to just trim the bottom. I only have to take not even a 30-second off of that. It's pretty close to flat right now. And I just have to get that nub off and just trim a little in here. and we'll be finished. Then I got to put the finish on the bottom. This is all finished. It's got 3 coats of the polyacrylic. That's what that is, polyacrylic. I got 3 coats of that on there. And I've buffed it out with the Scotch-Brite. And it's very nice, ready to go. Let me take this off. Can't get much better than that. I'm going to just take a sandpaper, run it over that, 400 grit, and that should do it. I'll set that up in a minute. Okay, I'm going to slow this down a little bit. Go 375. Lay that up in there. Well, I've got the first coat of polyacrylic on it, on the base. It's all sanded out. I got my stamp on there. It's coming along. That'll dry overnight, and I'll put a couple more coats on it, and it'll be finished. The bowl is finished. Came out pretty good as far as I can tell. Beautiful wood that I used. All scrap wood. We have in the center is the tiger wood. We have basswood. We have oak. This is a dark poplar. And this is maple. The bowl's 3.5 inches tall. And it's 10.5 inches across the diameter. I hope you gained something from watching my video. If so, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Please tell your friends about the videos and please comment if you'd like. Thanks for watching.